Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Camppatton Family Compound. Yes, it is time for the Monday night Fireside chat. Tonight's topic is baking bread, cakes, and brownies. And with me, I have Tammy at Rebel Canners, and possibly going to be having Chef Tech 86 joining us here.
Oh, Mark.
Yep, sent Mark the link, and so we'll see how long it takes to get set up and get in here because he likes to do this.
Yes.
So first off, let me go up over here, and so speaking of Mark, he was the first and second one in here on both his channels back at an hour and 40 minutes ago. And let's see, Kaylin Strain is here. Yeah, and here's Mark.
Hey.
And who else we got in here? We got Walt and Phelan are in here. And those are the only ones that we got 10 people in here, but not that many people commenting. So if you're lurking's fine. Do what Phelan did here. She said, lurking.
Yep. Make a comment. Just that it counts then. It doesn't count if you don't make a comment.
Yeah. Pat Small is here. Welcome. This is, how do I put this? This is a very controversial subject.
Depends on where in the world you are.
Yeah, depending on where in the world you are. I've got a bunch of Google searches up over here, and Google is being, how do I put this?
Brutal.
Biased in their searches on it.
Mm-hmm.
Very biased. And even when I Googled water bath canning bread, it wouldn't show any of the ones that I found by accident when I was just going through images, and there were images about water bathing. But we'll get on to that here in a minute. So how are you doing today, Tammy?
I'm doing pretty good. I did manage to can you some bread before this live.
Yay!
Or I should say, this is chocolate cake because my son has a birthday this week, and this is going in our lunches. So I do cakes. I do some Boston brown bread. If you look up Boston brown bread, it was traditionally made, it was steamed in a coffee can in an oven.
Mm-hmm.
And you can still buy it on Walmart shelves. Even here, it's in the market, sealed in a can.
I got pictures of it. I got pictures of it here.
So traditionally it's been done for a couple hundred years. I mean,
yeah, I know.
I guess, I think it predates the coffee can. Okay, and yet we have to have this argument of whether it's happy or not because it predates even the USDA.
Yeah, which is interesting. I got some stuff on that coming up here, and it's gonna. I think it's gonna be a little bit hilarious on our side. Mark, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing great. I got my wife watching in the other room right now. She's not logged in; she's just watching, but she's lurking. Hi, honey. Hey, whoever runs who's on your Facebook Camppatton Family Compound, because I haven't tagged or done anything on Facebook in probably 3 years, but I found a couple of my videos. Tammy remembers way back in the day. I did a live stream on New Year's Eve of opening a 1-year-old jar of cake. Of course, I got all kinds of fun comments on that, but I tagged you guys in it, so it came from my full name. And
okay, well, I'll look for it later.
Yeah, if you want to, you can pull. I'll let you play it on here if you want, at least the short one anyway.
Let's see. I've been in the oven, but I want to make it in jars, and I think, all right, I'm going to use empirical data and science to blow some of these paid off professors out of the water. But first, let's go get to the slideshow here. So let's pop this over here. Yes, there it is.
There, yes.
We got them. bread, original and raisin. Oh my God, they sell it in the store, but we can't make it at home.
Nope.
Yeah. And one of the things that it talks about this, and I'm going to blow that out of the water too here. All right. Let's see here. There's some canning of brown bread or white bread with brown, come on, crust on the outside. This one, muffins, yeah. And this is one of the things which is one of the ones commenting goes, oh, it leaves, when you do it, it leaves air in there, and air's bad. It's like, wait a minute, everything you can in a glass jar, whether it's water bath, pressure canning, or steaming, has an inch or so of air in it.
If you don't leave headspace, that's a bad thing. Headspace is actually a good thing.
Yeah. So another way which these professors have their heads totally up the dark spot of my lily white shamu. All right. Here's some other ones showing it and doing the test cake on it. Yep. And there's our back screen around us here. That picture there. That one got a little full.
Yeah, you can still push it down in and
fill them halfway. Sorry, Mark. Go ahead.
That's happened to me. I either take a knife and cut the top off quick and still cap it and it's good, or I just shove it down in there and put the lid on anyway.
That's what I did with this one.
Compress it.
It wasn't up enough to worry about, so it's now compressed cake.
There's less air when you do that, right? Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. The headspace, yeah.
Yeah. Well, Kaylin fired off here. I have those here. I also have some of the pressurized German bread that is also found in smaller cans in their military civilian rations. Yes, and hopefully I grabbed that one photo that I was looking at here. Let's see here. The tall tapered jars, yes, and it slides out nicely. There is a small can, and this is the double chocolate truffle cake with cognac. Maybe that's it. Maybe you need to put cognac in there. But
no,
there's a site called Healthy Canning. Yet they're showing they showed all these examples of commercially canned breads, but they say you can't do it at home. You're not a commercial company. So they got my big, that they are a biased and probably paid off company, site. So.
Well, the common sense isn't common anymore.
Yeah. And let me pull that down.
And if it's not approved, you're not allowed to do it. You're going to die.
Oh,
and what's interesting was on the one Reddit page where I had a guy from Germany talking about it, and somebody else chimed in after that. The guy says, I'm shutting this down, blah, blah, blah. You can't, this is against all American stuff and everything else. And the guy said, just because it's not tested doesn't mean it's not safe. Yeah, it's not approved because it's not tested. Therefore, it's not safe because they haven't tested it. And so it's like, hey, Chipper, how's it going? Our Treasure Homestead. And to me, that screams, oh, yeah, they're not going to test it because they've been paid off by these big companies not to test it.
Well, if they were doing it before the USDA was created, the USDA wasn't actually created to test our food or to tell us how to can food. It was actually created to take care of the problem they had with meatpacking industry selling rotten beef to people.
Yeah.
And it really had nothing to do with canning until they got bored and decided to take over canning. So things like milk, they had canned milk for 50 years before the USDA was created. They're not going to test something they already knew was safe.
Yeah.
Same with Boston brown bread. They were doing that long before the USDA was ever created. They're not going to back then the government didn't waste money.
Yeah.
On
and nowadays they're going to say, oh well, we can't. We can't test it because somebody up above us here is going to get mad because they're vacation fund is being tampered with from,
Yeah.
nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
That's why the
Hey,
Times.
how's it going?
That's why the Times and the Ball Blue Book and there's less and less items in there now because they didn't get a chance to test it over the last couple of years. So we can't post that time. Therefore, it'll kill you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just a bunch of stuff just is disappearing because the powers that be don't want people to know how to do this. They want to be reliant upon food from commercial sources, and the government being able to take over those commercial sources. The government doesn't want to give them more freedom.
There's only something like 5 companies in the entire world producing food on our grocery shelves.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah. Yeah, they keep gobbling up the smaller companies that come up and doing
It's
stuff.
It's a monopoly.
Yeah. All right. So what I did here was I went and Googled. This was just about started this about 2 hours ago again because I lost the other links. I Googled pressure canning bread. All right, pressure canning. What pops up? USU extension. Canning of quick breads. I didn't put quick breads in there. I put breads.
Right.
And the next one down. Pressure canned bocce is bread which is under low pressure in the jar with a seal, blah, 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 blah. And it's and another one is quick bread, quick white bread in jar. Quick bread here, it's like I don't want quick bread. But that's the thing they're referencing all the time here in all the negative ones I can find is quick bread.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the fun part. So actually, let me show that. So I searched it and stuff, and all quick canning breads, blah 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 blah, and all the stuff. Then I found some Simple Living Alaska's canned zucchini breads. Other ones how to can breads. All the Homestead ones are saying how to do it, and so there are things showing how to do it and stuff and everything else. But here's the other thing I found out. Okay, so let's go to the USDA first. One of the most common causes of foodborne botulism is improperly home canned food. No, it's not.
No, it isn't.
The number one thing of botulism stuff comes from the farm, the big commercial farm selling stuff to the grocery stores. Yeah. But anyways, going through it. Then they added, the only a pressure cooker canner allows water to reach 200 to 250 degrees Fahrenheit, a temperature that can kill the spores. Okay, and the spores they're talking about is the C botulism.
Yeah,
or the
Clostridium botulinum. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So remember this spore down here, okay? Because we're going to go over to the Penn State Extension, and he goes through, and as he's going through here, I was just looking at, I said, what are you talking about, dude? You're stupid. Oh, in addition, the practice does not remove all oxygen. No canning removes all oxygen.
No.
For microorganisms to thrive.
It's sterilized.
I don't know of any microorganisms that can thrive at that temperature.
Or 350 degrees in the oven.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right. And let's see, get down here. And this guy, look at him, you can tell he's a wingnut. And he says, and he quotes the botulism there, going in the jars after the item has been baked. There's great concern. No, there isn't great concern about the botulism. There's great concern about the people actually, we can do stuff on our own.
Yeah. I just want to point out that no soil was added to my canned cake.
You didn't put dirt in there? It's not one of those dirt cakes?
There's absolutely no dirt in my chocolate cake. I want to point that out. My kitchen was relatively clean. There was also no dirt in my kitchen that was obvious or noticeable. Maybe a few ramen noodles that were hanging out on the counter because I had a mess of that I had to clean up right before I did this. But I just want to ask, where do we most commonly find the, outside of the hospital OR at the plastic surgeon's request, where do we find Clostridium botulinum?
Where there is on the farms where there is runoff from the feces of farm animals into the crops.
In the soil.
In the soil, yeah.
It is soil. It is naturally occurring in some soils in different parts, but not all of the United States.
Yeah.
And
hey,
I don't know about other countries. But there's no dirt in here.
Yeah.
Just
all depends if you put porta potties in the field too for the for the workers to pick the stuff, because if there's no porta potty out there, not going there.
Yeah.
What's interesting is on one of the things that the things, I can't find it right now, but they were stating that as a rebuttal, they gave the link and everything. So Germany has 5 cases per year of botulism. 5 cases for the country Germany. The U.S. has 7 cases.
Mm-hmm. Maybe on a big year. On a big year.
I can count all 7 of those in the news articles coming from vegetables.
I went back to, they're not all vegetables. I went back and counted all the cases that they had reported on the CDC website since they started reporting in the 1970s. And I believe the number I came up with was something like 162 in all this time. And the number one, and the number one cause was fermented fish in Alaska. I guess if you're letting the fish ferment for a few days before you can it, you're at a higher risk of foodborne illness, including Clostridium botulinum.
Shoot, I just lost it.
I mean, just so you know, I'm not big on canning fermented fish, so I'm not real big on worrying about this. It's all not that.
I got something fun here for you. University of California Agricultural and Natural Resources. Despite extreme potency, botulinum toxin is easily destroyed. Heating in an internal temperature of 85 degrees Celsius, which is about probably that 240 that the USDA said.
250, yeah.
Or at least 5 minutes. Will decontaminate affected surfaces. All right. Yeah. And
the only pitfall to that statement is, if once botulism grows, if it gets out of control, you can heat it and kill the botulism. It's the toxins that are produced while the botulism is growing. It's a living organism. Those toxins can still make you sick. So if the food, you can't bring spoiled food back to life by heating it to 250 for 5 minutes and it's all of a sudden magically delicious.
Shoot, I can't find that other.
But you don't kill the spores. You kill the toxin by boiling.
Yeah.
So
I found it. I finally found it. Yay. Okay. A lot of the ones saying, the safety and everything, all the USU extension, everything, all the ones that are slamming it down. Remember, what temperature was it? 240, 250 when kills the spores. The other one said 85 degrees centigrade. Let me see, look that up. 85 degrees centigrade to Fahrenheit is 185 degrees. 185 degrees kills the spore, or kills the stuff. All right, so let's get back to this one. All right, here we go. All right, the baking of bread does not kill the C and the C botulism. Distribute as 45 minutes at 325 degrees. 325 degrees won't kill it, but 185 degrees for 5 minutes will.
But see, that's the problem. It gets confusing. There is a difference between the bacteria. The bacteria, when under pressure and in an anaerobic, oxygen deprived environment, it walls itself off and creates what they call the spore, which is then that can then come back to life and produce more bacteria. And then its own little cesspool that it creates while it's in that spore form is the toxin. So all 3 stages of the life cycle of this bacteria is called by the same name, and it makes it very, very confusing when trying to describe it. But in order for the bacteria to become the spore and produce toxin, it has to be in an oxygen-free environment under pressure.
Right. All right, here's the other thing. So both these sheets that you can see right here and several other ones going down says that the baking of bread does not kill botulism. Wait a minute. So the bread we bake in our ovens, in our regular loaf pans and stuff, it's not free of botulism? Why isn't everybody dying of botulism that bakes homemade bread?
Because the bacteria is not what kills you.
Yeah, I know, and
it's the toxin that the spores form.
You don't eat moldy bread. After 3 days, your bread goes moldy. Don't eat it. You'll get sick.
Either that, or you do a little bit more to it, and you got penicillin. But that's one of the things I look here at this, going through here. All these detractors are just saying 325 degrees won't kill the botulism, and that's going to make you sick. Yeah, I could not find one case of botulism from bread, from homemade bread in the United States. Zero. Zip. Nope. Not.
Because bread is not grown in the ground, and bread is not contaminated with soil.
Mm-hmm. So, and it's not done with no oxygen at under pressure.
No.
Like this one guy, but like this wingnut here I showed, this Professor Wingnut, who says if there's oxygen in the jar, so it's going to be unsafe. And it's like, oxygen keeps it from forming, dummy.
Yeah, it's like the people just catch on this catchphrase, and then they want to use it for everything.
Here's Courtney.
Hey.
Courtney, I wasn't sure if you were going to be around. Did you want to come up here, Courtney? If you do, Courtney, guess what? Control C. There's the link. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so baking breads. Have you baked the bread and then pressure canned the jar or water bathed it, or done just put the dough in there and pressure canned or water bath the jar instead of baking it in the oven? This
is the one time where I oven can it, and I'm happy to do it. I just do it oven can.
Now the next couple of questions for both of you. Have you thought of taking one of those little oxygen absorber things and dropping it in there before you slap the lid on?
No.
Okay.
No.
Or one of those. Okay, and moisture absorber would be kind of pointless with all the moisture that's in the bread, anyways. But I'm just looking at.
Yeah.
The other question then is, they say, a lot of times, a lot of you are saying you don't get good seals. Whereas, if as if any seal is either good or bad. If it's a seal, it's a seal. It should be. But you don't get a good seal because it doesn't have as you pull the jar out of the oven, it the air cools down and won't get a good seal.
I pulled all the jars out.
Just-
I pulled all my jars out at once when I did this, and I had 3 of them. I had to cut the top off because I got a little too generous, even though I knew better. And all of them have sealed. All of the jars I did this afternoon sealed within an hour.
When I do mine, I did bread. The bread recipe was terrible. I thought it was better, but it lasted for 6-8 months. And I proof the dough in the jars. I'll spray a little bit of spray in the bottom of the jar, cold. They're clean and sterile, ready to go. Although they're going to get sterilized when you put them in the oven. I do it in the oven, and drop the dough in there. I'll put them on a tray on the stove top while the oven's preheating, and I'll start the oven at like 200. I won't crank it up to 350 right away. I'll start it at 200 so I don't shock the jars. Let them proof until they raise up to where I want them to. Sometimes they overrise. I'll punch it down a little bit. As long as your rims are clean, nice and sterile, not sterile, but clean and dry, throw them in the oven and keep an eye on it. They'll rise up, brown, and when they're done, Tammy does it different. I do it different. We all do a little different. I pull them out one at a time with my hot mitt on, and I'll put a ring and a cap on it and just tighten it down, put it in the corner. They're done. Because by the time I get the ring and the cap on there, the temperature inside the jar is still in the 300s somewhere. And I'll put them on a non-conductive surface. I won't put it on metal or granite. I'll put it on like a piece of wood so the jars don't shock too cold too quick. And I haven't lost a jar yet.
Yeah. I was even more lazy, Mark. When I did the bread, I got those little tiny rolls that I really don't like them, but I had a bunch of them and I wanted to make them up. So I threw them in one in each, spray the jar, threw one in each jar, let them rise on the counter. And once they were risen and it was the time they said I should rise it, I threw it in the oven, baked it like follow the directions, pulled them out. And that day I probably did it one by one. Today I was in a hurry, so I didn't do them one by one. But I pulled them out, stuck my lids on, and set them to the side on a towel to cool.
It's the physics that makes it work. The temperature inside the jar, as long as it's still above 250 degrees or so, you cap it, ring it, and it's weird because when you do it and they cool on a counter, you look inside, it's like, oh man, there's like moisture everywhere. Yeah, first it comes out, when it totally cools down, moisture goes right back into the bread or the cake.
Yep.
And you're done.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. All right, couple things here. More things to get your guys' input on, because I'm trying to be the devil advocate for everybody out there that doesn't know how to do it. And so, what do I do? All right. The canning lids. You can't put those in on top of it while it's still in the oven, can you? It's not a good idea.
No.
Okay.
That's
hotter than the 250 degrees in a pressure canner.
Yeah, but that rubber can probably handle. I've never tested it. I'm sure that rubber can handle up to 300 and change.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't. No, why bother? You need it to breathe so it can get out. So you're not canning it like you're doing in a pressure canner in the oven with the lids and rings already on there, finger tight, all that stuff. They're wide open.
Right. Now, the other thing is what I find so interesting with a lot of these articles were, a lot of them came out in the last several years after the Red Dragon, and everybody started trying to can everything at home again.
Mm-hmm.
What most people don't realize that, the jar, not all, a lot of the more popular big name brand jars, which are no longer tempered, have come out lately, and some were talking specifically, the jars cannot take being put in the oven, the dry temperatures, shock the jars and everything else.
Yeah.
My thought on that is like, well, wait a minute, I got a bunch of old, back in the 70s and before that, old jars that are thicker that have been tempered to be used both for canning and in the freezer.
So let's run
Those are
another.
probably the better ones to use in the oven, then, aren't they?
Let's run another physics lessons past you. So how is glass made? It's heated to 1800 degrees to melt, to form into the glass and put in there. If you take one of these newer jars and just throw them into boiling water, sure, from room temperature, you just created a 212 degree shock factor. If you put your bread and cake and stuff in the jars, put it in the oven's only at 100 degrees maybe, or not even on. I've done it where I don't even turn the oven on. I put them in there, then I turn the oven on. So everything comes up to temperature at the same time. The glass isn't going to break. It's when you shock it. That's when your problem is. Hold on, I'll be right back.
Yeah. And I could just imagine somebody not knowing about this, but having one of those vacuum sealer kits for doing the wide and regular mouth jars for vacuum sealing it. Saying, well, will it help if when I take it out, if I try vacuum sealing the air out of it so the lid gets a better seal on it?
No, bad choices. That would be a very bad choice.
Okay, so just trying to make sure all the information is out there, because the vacuum sealing the jars isn't that old of a technique.
Here's the thing. Okay, the seal is not what preserves your food. I could take this cake, I could put it in Tupperware, and I could put it on my counter for the same time I have cooked this cake. Okay? The problem will be the one in the Tupperware. It may have a seal, just like this, that burped in the air and whatever. It may have a seal, but it is not been heated through the same way this has. Especially when we're talking pressure canning. Everybody's like, well, it's sealed. Well, the seal is not the end goal here. Okay? The end goal is to process this to kill the majority, and not all, I said majority, of microbes in it, and get the lid on and make a seal as fast as possible so that more microbes are not reintroduced into it. But the seal is not the end all be all of it. That's,
All right. Now that we've talked a lot for the last 25 minutes, 30 minutes about the microbes and stuff and technique of canning, what types of breads, cakes, brownies, and other delicious pastries and stuff can you can in jars?
I haven't done cookies yet.
I have not, but I think a giant chocolate chip cookie might be really good.
Actually, I thought about trying to do that. So what I would do is make cookies a little bit smaller than the jar, bake them until they're pretty much done, then put a little piece of parchment paper between each one, stack them up in a jar, and put them back in the oven. And then let it go for, let them cook a little bit more. If they're chocolate chip, you're going to make a mess. But hey, but they'll make a little bit of a mess. But when they come out of the oven, as long as everything's hot above, 250, 300 inside the jar, the air, cap it, ring it, you're good, and everything's clean. And you might have that. That was my next venture. I just never got around to it, and that's my thought behind that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that would work.
I was thinking about all the different things, the different type breads. Are you limited in what type of breads can you do in a jar?
I've done apple bread successfully. Mm-hmm. I've done raisin bread successfully. I have done zucchini and banana breads. As far as the quick breads go, I've done chocolate cake. And I love to use the little tiny jars, the quarter pints, and do brownies.
Oh, nice.
But that's just
I did a challah bread and just a regular bread, my recipe, my formula recipe. And they worked, but the actual recipe was not the best. So they wouldn't have tasted good in the oven.
I did the store-bought buns that I did but they take up so much room. And I like I can't remember what you call the dude, but there's so much headspace in there. There's really wasting a lot of my space on my shelves. So for me to do the bread, the like white bread or a roll in one of these, it's too much waste on my shelf. I don't have space for that.
You could probably do it in like a 1.5 pint wide mouth, because as long as it's semi-tapered and tall, yeah. But even then, okay, I can do a 1.5 pint wide mouth, and then take it camping with me, so we have like little round sliced slider bread roll things for our burgers on the grill. Sure, but not for long term, extended long term storage.
Or that English muffin loaf might be good like that for camping.
Oh yeah,
that would be good. I have a really good recipe for that.
All right, since Mark brought up about cookies, I know someone is thinking about it there in the side chat, because I'm thinking about it. If you have your straight or your slightly tapered wider at the top jar, you have a bunch of cookies, and so I'm thinking, I'm just going to stack them in here, and then pressure can it to kill all the bugs and bacteria in there. And is that a viable thing to do?
We keep bringing up pressure canning for cakes and breads and that. Pressure canner's only going to get it up to 250. So you're not going to, or it's 260, maybe 265 if you use it at 15 pounds. You're not going to reach the temperatures to caramelize the sugars, to give the flavors you want.
Yeah,
so
I'm talking about already done cookies that are already done.
Oh, maybe.
Just to preserve, ways of preserving it longer. I wasn't sure.
What about just throwing them in a jar and sucking the air out of them?
No, that doesn't preserve them. That just takes the air out of there, and you still have the temperature is the problem. Yeah. You just left cold air.
You're going to want to kill any bacteria from that, from opening up the packages, and you got cookies in the house there.
You can, if you vacuum seal them, just like they vacuum seal them in bags, it will keep them fresh longer. Like Courtney's saying, it'll keep them fresh longer. I guess
but not for 2 years.
Not for 2 years. What's your end goal? Okay, I'll be honest. This chocolate cake, my end goal is to keep the kids out of it for the next week, so I can have it for lunches. Yeah. I never make it for more. It's not going to make 6 months on my shelf. It's not going to make 3 months on my shelf. When I make it, I know I'm eating it
before anything. They would just eat.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not making the 2 year mark. I mean, I applaud Mark for his waiting 1 year to test and eat it, but I'm not doing that. I'm eating it within 3 months.
That's because it got lost on the shelf and I stumbled upon it the week before. I'm like, I'm doing a live feed.
Usually when people, especially on the Rebel canners, when they're doing breads and stuff like that, and they're doing things like you would think of cookies and brownies, they're usually eating them within a 3 month period. It's more like they just want something to go. They just want to make up their own thing, can it, and then it'll be gone in a few months.
Exactly.
Yeah. Husband's a truck driver. I need to make these up and send out with him. He's going on a long haul across country. These are not things that are designed for my 2 year rotation. This is just
first video I saw on that way back in the day was some woman, her husband was overseas, and she made a dozen the small 1/2 pint jars cakes and sent over a thing of frosting and that. And I saw that, I was like, oh, I can understand the physics on that one. So I just started canning cakes, and I found Rebel canners, and all bets were off. So
I brought over to the dark side.
Yes, you did. Well, I was already there. I just needed somebody to shine a dark light there.
Can I tell on you, Mark, or myself, or shouldn't I?
You can tell whatever you want. I'm on Facebook, so it doesn't matter.
Okay. All those clever memes that you guys thought were me, I would just send Mark a message and say, hey, people are driving me crazy in the group. Can you fix it with a meme?
Yeah, you mean the one like, just because the lid goes ping doesn't mean your food is magically preserved? Yeah, that one. I love that one.
That one, yeah, yeah, yes. So all those clever things, Mark was I was the hey, can you help me? And he was the clever.
Cool. So I take it that Mark is one of your major administrators over there.
No,
he's never been an administrator. He is
never
just
wanted the job.
No, he refused. He turned me down. But he's very good at crowd control. He just here's a nice picture with a nice little message. Like, cut it out, guys.
Yeah, with a girl holding a pew pew saying any mentions of botulism will be shot down. I would put little rebel canner thing. Yeah, I got them all still.
Yeah.
If you search my name on Rebel Canners, you will find everything I ever posted and go, oh my God, how did you get away with this? Yeah, that was 5-6 years ago. Now, forget it. Can't.
Yeah. Well, maybe you ought to give him, make him at an administrator level so he's protected from the other administrators, and let him start firing some of those things out again.
He's protected under the Lily Grace clause. I've already protected him under the Lily Grace clause. Mark can
I tried posting something.
Yep.
I tried posting something. It wasn't bad, but apparently I used a word that YouTube doesn't like anymore. And I got shot down. So I just texted Tammy. I was like, Tammy, what's going on? She's like, hold on. And they let it go through. And I don't know what she said, but yeah, they let it through. But I don't think they were happy about it. So,
but he's protected.
Yeah, I know. I've seen not just myself, but other people. They use the word prepper. Some of the administrators jump on them and say that's not an approved YouTube Facebook term. Is like, wait a minute. I know several prepping channels that are Facebook approved and use the word prep.
They go through. That's the problem with Facebook, and I love them and hate them. They go through and they pick on words like. Right now, if we use the word fat in a cooking context, referring to the, having to skim the fat off the jar off the broth before we put it in a jar, we get a black mark from Facebook.
Yeah.
And they're going to take our group down because we're bullying that poor broth and calling it obese.
Yeah, can't use pork, pig, fat thing. There's like a million words now. It's like you just can't even post anymore.
Hoe. Yeah. You can't use the word hoe in a gardening group. Like
you have to call it a narrow dirt scraper.
Yeah,
you narrow dirt scraper.
The AI
that sounds dirtier than saying a hoe.
I would totally use that more though because I like that.
Yeah, it's like stop! I'm giving me a headache.
But the thing is, though, it's the word is whore with an R between the O and the E to mean prostitute.
We're a cooking channel. We talk about cooking. We're not bullying people. If anything, it's the opposite. We're making them. Where's CR? Is he in the chat? We're making them hungry.
Yeah. Yes, I haven't seen CR.
I got chocolate cake and CR is not here. I'm kind of disappointed.
I think he saw the title of it and goes, I'm not going in.
Did you read what Caitlin wrote? She said, I don't talk about hoes anyway. I don't own one. That I wrote, me either.
I have to be careful what I say.
Okay, I got to do it. There are three potatoes standing on the corner. Which one's the prostitute?
The one from Idaho.
The one that says Idaho.
Yeah. Well.
So you can say that because you live in that state.
Oh, I was saying that when I lived in California.
Oh.
It's like I've never been in the military. I will get all my nephews together that were in the military. So I got the Army, the Air Force, the Marines, the Navy, and the Coast Guard all represented. And I started telling jokes. My most famous joke is, what does the Army? No. What does the Air Force call a helicopter? A helicopter. What does the Army call a helicopter?
Chopper.
A chopper, correct. What does the Navy call a helicopter? A helo. What does a Marine call a helicopter? Ride!
Oh,
Good Lord.
oh, bad dad joke.
YouTube will ding you for that.
You were bad joke.
I told that joke on both my channels a lot of times, but yeah, it's and things. My one nephew who is a Marine, he hits the floor laughing. And, true, that's true.
Wow.
It's like talking about coloring books and crayons to and Marines to Steve, of course, they're trainers. He's not a former. He's a non-active duty Marine, because once a Marine, always a Marine. Then he goes, "Yep, give me more crayons."
This is funny. This is kind of a funny story. We had a mayor of a town that's about 45 minutes north of us, who wanted people to stop ice fishing and wanted to make those little huts that they use for fishing illegal because of all the prostitution that went on in there. There was no prostitution.
What were they doing to those poor fish?
Like, there was none whatsoever. I'm pretty sure that mayor lost his stuff and he retired or something a couple months later. Like, there was something wrong with him. But seriously,
You might not be that far off. I've heard stories of Tip Up Town. That's all I'm going to say. Tip Up Town is a very famous ice fishing festival they have up north in Michigan.
Oh, but yeah, it was a meme for the longest time of, these guys ice fishing with all these hoes and prostitutes and stuff. It was freaking hilarious. That just doesn't happen normally.
Yes, everybody. This is what happens when we all get together. We kind of diverge. Once we get the main topic taken, we kind of diverge off the rails a little bit.
I'm sorry. That's me too. I always am off the rails, so I apologize.
Yeah.
Next time I go ice fishing, I'm going to bring my garden tools with me and lay them outside. So when the police show up, they can say, "Look, there's a whole bunch of hoes at that fishing shack."
That's hilarious.
I'm tired enough hauling the shanty out there. I don't want to have to haul any implements of any kind out there too, except for that little tiny fishing rod. That's it. Something to sit on.
That's my tip-up hoe.
Oh, good Lord.
All right. So what is your favorite type of bread to can?
Apple bread.
Chocolate cake.
Apple bread?
Chocolate cake.
Chocolate cake?
I've never canned bread.
You haven't done it yet, huh?
Bread. And I don't eat bread, not normally. So yeah. I don't can bread. And if I did make a loaf of bread, I'm not stuffing it in a jar. I'm going to eat it in a day. It's not going to make it that far.
It's not something everybody has shelf space for.
Yeah.
I'm making it for
I made
it for today.
When I do bread here, or when my daughter does bread, doesn't matter whichever house it is, the grandkid, if it's over there, it's not even cold, cool enough to cut, and the grandkids are tearing it apart, eating it.
Yeah, they've sniffed it out.
Yeah. And when they find out I have bread over here, can we go see Grandpa? And here comes all four of them over there, and within 5 minutes, they each have 2 handfuls of sliced bread, just going to town on it.
For me, is it worth it to can bread? Really? I don't think it's worth it because I feel like
for me, I would do it again for bread because I have a cabin. So I would can like a half a dozen wide mouth pint jars of just bread and leave it at my cabin. So for the season when I go out there, I don't have to bring bread with me, and I can bring burgers, make a burger slider, cut the bread or whatever I made, and have a little sandwich. But that's just for the season, not for like the next 10 years.
Yeah.
Myra, you posted that. I totally forgot about that. I absolutely love to do cornbread in jars. Absolutely love to do it. And then I stick it on the shelf right next to my chili, and then it's good to go. I pull them off for lunch, open that cornbread, heat up my chili, pour it on my cornbread. Yes. Myra, you're right. I lied. It's not apple bread, it's cornbread. That's my favorite.
Thanks for coming in, Myra, by the way. Love ya.
Yeah. One of the things that I was thinking of, while I was doing all the research on this that I was doing for mine, because I've never canned bread either. And to me, it's like, okay, next time the staff sergeant's up here, we're going to be canning a bunch of hamburger and taking a lot of the meat out of the freezer, canning it, putting it in jars, putting it on the shelf, freeing up space in the freezer. Wow, we got a Seal a Meal, or Food Saver rather. Food Saver bought out Seal a Meal, so they're both owned by the same company now. We bake bread. We will just freeze it, put it in the Seal a Meal, suck all the extra air out, put it back in the freezer.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
That will keep for a couple of years. That'll keep a lot longer than people taking their hamburger buns and tossing in the freezer, because you've sucked most of the air out of it.
How do you get the bread to taste good again? Because every time it's frozen, it doesn't taste near as good.
So if you freeze your bread ahead of time, like sliced bread, if you freeze it just for like a day, just so it's hard, then put it in a vacuum sealer, it'll maintain its form, and you really won't get much frost. You're going to get frost because you can't get all the air out of bread unless you turn it into a cracker.
Yeah. Or like someone said in the side chat, hockey puck.
Yeah. I love a good cracker.
The other thing is,
can't say that word anymore either.
when you thaw back on topic, when you thaw the bread, though, thaw it in the refrigerator. Ordinarily, putting bread in the refrigerator will make it stale, but if you freeze it and then thaw it slowly in the refrigerator, don't leave it in there, but slowly, it tastes better.
And turn it upside down.
Try it. Yeah. On the counter, the moisture is just gonna make it. I find it soggy. I don't like soggy bread.
Yeah. We've always when we've taken frozen bread out or hamburger buns out, we turn the package upside down. That way, because the ice crystals always, well, the majority of them won't go to the bottom. And when you turn it over, then as it starts thawing out, it kind of spreads back out, and you get more evenly distributed moisture for it. Hey, Rick, how's it going?
So I like my freeze dryer. I make brownies, cut them into chunks, throw them in a freeze dryer. They're good for 20 years.
Hey, question. Are you on 2 different sites?
Yes, I am. Yeah, I have I'm Chef Tech 86 and Mad Chick Acres. That's why I go back and forth between the two. That's why I'm usually the first 2 people on when Gil does a live stream, because I got 2 devices going.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gives them the extra view time.
Can I tell them about your the one channel?
I don't care.
All right. So Mad Chick is his parents, Madeline and Chick, as in Charles.
No.
Chick is a short for Charles.
Oh, okay.
I created that channel because the acres, I bought property because of them, and that's where my cabin is. We're going to build out there hopefully at some point, and I called it that. And everybody liked it. It makes sense, and it gives them pays a little homage to them, and I'm good on that. Chef Tech is my other one because I went to culinary school, and I was a master technician for Ford for many years, and I just put them all together, and apparently it stuck, and I like that. That one's, I've had that. I have a channel. Both of them have channels. I just have no videos on there. I have a few subscribers from friends waiting for me to throw something up there, and I'll start throwing stuff up there at some point here, probably in the next year. And both of them, Mad Chick Acres will be stuff at the farm and at the property, and Chef Tech will be more canning, cooking, preserving, freeze drying, a little bit of everything. I'll get to it, and I'll let everybody know.
Kaylin, I've made hardtack before. Actually, I made hardtack, that was about 3 years before I retired. So that was 2015. So it's 9 years old, and it's still as hard and as fresh as the day it was done. Hardtack lasts for centuries.
Mm-hmm.
And if you get in trouble, you can make yourself a punt gun and fire the hardtack at people.
Sounds good.
And that's coming from somebody who lives in
that's coming from someone who used to make potato guns out of Schedule 80 3-inch PVC pipe.
Yes.
And put a 175 pound air compressor with a 1-inch hose on it to the back of it and a valve. All right.
Tammy was sounding like a messed up robot. Yes, she was.
Yeah, she went roboto again. Okay, so coming up here, Tammy, the next time you're going live is Thursday?
at noon, yes. We'll try again to give away some.
Okay, yeah, she's going to be giving away channel memberships, hopefully. She's going to try to figure it out. And so that's noon Eastern time, folks. Corky, when is the next time you're going live on Wide Family? Don't know.
Saturday, probably during the day sometime. I'm not really on a specific time.
And when is the next time you and Joe are going live on Grow Big TV?
That's tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tomorrow night is our Grow Guide on carrots. And then Thursday, I cannot remember the woman's name right now, but we'll be interviewing a woman who is the top informational person on biochar. I can't think of her name right now.
Yeah, I saw several of those posts on Facebook.
No pressure, no pressure.
No pressure.
Yeah, we use aqua spray, hairspray for other things with a lighter in front of it.
I used to use MAP gas in my golf ball cannon. That was frightening. I don't think I want to talk about that anymore.
Thank you. Her name is Kathleen Draper, and she is the top person in the country regarding biochar. So that'll be our Thursday interview.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah. Well, Mark, my brother, neighbor across the street, and my cousin, all of them were actually they were all about 17, 18 years old. And actually they were all 17. They were all minors still. I'd found several pieces of 1/2-inch hydraulic pipe, the thick, Schedule 120 thick stuff. And they put a cap on it and stuff, and they made a muzzle loader using match heads.
Yeah,
that's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah, my uncle did it with a 1/4-inch steel wall, 2-inch diameter pipe, welded a cap on, punched a hole in it, and a certain mixture of 2 gases you use to melt metals together, and made a nice cannon with no projectile in it, and blew out the neighbor's window from about 50 feet away, big picture pane window, just from the compression. Yeah, that was not a happy day. And they were sitting right there going, yeah, until they went, oh, crap, that was my window. Get the plywood.
Well, talking about that same gas that comes in a red tank and a green tank.
Yeah.
In my high school in Fredonia, Arizona, the when the shop teacher wasn't in the shop, he had one shop class going, and he had a classroom going with the freshmen in it. The seniors all brought in balloons one day.
Yep.
4-inch balloons. And they filled up a boatload of those in a box went out along the dike. There was a old barbed wire fence out there with wooden posts. They went with pins, pinned the balloon to each of them, and then they ran a fuse, a fast burning firework fuse across there. Splintered the 4x4 posts, all of them. Just a boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, there's some fun videos on that on YouTube about that particular method.
Yeah,
they're fun to watch. I did it once, and it was hard to hear things for about 3 days.
Yeah. All righty. So
Tammy's talking to herself again.
Yeah. Let me get. Yeah, she's muted. Let me get this up here real quick. Okay, so tomorrow night on my other channel, Gray Man Prepping, the topic is when freedom seeds are gone. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. You can guess what we're talking about there. Thursday night is the midnight ride at midnight Eastern time, Thursday night. So actually the countdown starts at 11:55. Friday, back here on Camppatton Family Compound.
Whoop-whoop.
This was suggested by Butch of Sand Hollow Homestead here in Idaho. He's over by Boise, there by Nampa. And he says, the topic is daily groceries versus monthly staples. Think about it. Daily groceries versus monthly staples. And he was commented on because what he saw in Costco, what people were buying in Costco. They weren't buying staples. They were just buying stuff that's going to be gone in a couple of days. Next week here. Saturday on Survival Saturday on Gray Man Prepping. Dr. Paula's topic is coming up. She wanted to know about this one. Security cameras. So we're going to be talking all about security cameras. I've been using security cameras for 20 years, 25 years now.
Mm-hmm.
But usually I've been using them for my haunted house to see what everybody's doing in the haunted house. So we're talking security cameras. And then next Monday here, the topic is going to be canning dairy.
I guess we'll be back, Tammy.
Yeah.
And some cheese.
So canning milk, butter, cheese, and whatever other dairy you can can.
Cream
you can
cheese.
can yogurt, but doesn't that defeat the purpose?
Yes,
it does.
You don't want
yes,
you can freeze dry yogurt, and in 10 years you can rehydrate it with good water and make more yogurt. But that's only freeze drying, not canning.
Yeah. So that's what's coming up for this next week. And so once again, Tammy, Thursday at noon. Sometime Saturday for Courtney. Courtney and Joe are going to be doing Grow Big TV tomorrow at 7 Eastern, and then Thursday at 7 as well.
Yeah.
At 7 as well. So, and Happy Max says,
if you want to know more about biochar, come and hang out with us on Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
If Howie's in here, I think Howie's writing it down for him to he's going to hop in too. Yeah. He's probably going to try to get in there because Howie just loves biochar.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Gil, right. put Corky's YouTube link up so we can I can at least tag it. I've never been on her channel, so.
Courtney, can you throw your link in there real quick?
Yeah.
All right. Joe, can you throw Grow Big TV's link in there?
Corky, you're about to get two more subscribers from me.
Okay.
All right.
I hope you like Goofy because my channel's Goofy. So
I don't know. I kind of talk goofy, so we're probably on the same page.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I figured out which one of the grandkids made me sick. It was number 3. It was Danny, my favorite. Because the other 3 had pink eye. He had the earache and the head cold.
Oh, I get to see the grandbaby tomorrow.
Yay!
If I stay healthy.
Well, you're going to be healthy tomorrow unless you come out with something weird happening overnight at the pneumotic plague or something.
I'm just, well, we did have a kid here that was sick, but I don't think he was actually sick. And so I'm like, you must stay 5 feet away from me.
Hold on. I don't think Joe heard you about Grow to Big TV, so let me get on that one.
Okay. So, all right. So, Tammy, thank you for coming up again.
Anytime.
And so I'm really going to need your help next week.
I'll be there.
Because I know you've done so many great videos on canning dairy.
Yes.
From the milk, from the chunks of cheddar cheese and turning it into basically sort of like a nachos cheese sauce.
Yes. Oh, I've recanned nacho cheese sauce. I don't know if I have a video on that though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got it, Joe. We're good.
Pat, the other thing with sour cream, it does have an active culture. You know, our microbiome from our gut is dependent on those microbes that are healthy, like the one from sour cream. And so it kind of defeats the purpose. I don't can it because I want the healthy microbes.
Well, now that you said microbes, that's why.
I know. Mark said that if you freeze dry yogurt, it maintains the culture when it comes back to life.
Yeah, sour cream, same thing. Yep.
Sour cream. Can you freeze dry with that and have it come back to life?
Yeah,
yes,
you can
and
freeze dry like little. Go ahead, Tammy.
So you can buy I'll just say this: you can buy the freeze dried sour cream culture to make your own. Go ahead, Mark. Sorry.
No, you can. I freeze dry sour cream in little squares, little ice cube squares, and you just have to add a little bit of water to it. You have to be careful because it doesn't take much water, and it comes back as long as it gets it rehydrates. It tastes just like you opened up a bucket of Daisy.
All right, now for those that don't own a freeze dryer, you can just freeze dry it in like ice cube trays, right? They're
silicone. We'll just call them silicone candy molds. That's the easiest way to
describe it. But what I'm saying, just for freezing, if you don't own a freeze dryer, someone that doesn't own a freeze dryer, they can freeze both yogurt and the sour cream and keep it in the freezer.
Yes,
you can, but it'll like Mom's Cool Whip back in the day that wound up in the bottom of the freezer. 6 months later, you open it up, all the frost is in the top because it'll freezer burn itself. Just the moisture comes out, so you got to seal and meal it, do something.
Right.
It separates, and you got to.
Okay. But for emergencies and stuff, if you do that, you can have some in an emergency.
Tammy, does it lift and separate?
No, it just separates.
Oh, okay.
No true support there. And you can't use it to hang your melons on the.
But you can spread it on a cracker.
All right, everyone. With that, we're going to wrap it up tonight.
Use a mini hoe.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Corky. Thank you, Tammy, for coming up here. Thank you, everybody in side chat for your comments. Thank you, Pat, for talking about the dairy and cheese stuff, too. All right, folks. So remember, add to your preps. Build up your prepper pantry and learn a new skill, especially when it comes to preserving food. All right, we'll see you around.
Thanks, Gil.